Today is May 28th, 2013. We are in Effingham at the DAV Club interviewing Darrell Horath. Darrell was born January 26, 1948. My name is Cheryl Walker. I'm with the Illinois State Library, and I will be interviewing Mr. Horath. Mr. Horath, for the record, can you tell us what branch of service and your highest rank?
I was in the Army. I was a Sergeant E5.
Okay, and your service dates were January 14th, 1968 to January 14th,
Yes,
1970.
ma'am.
And you were drafted.
Yep.
Okay, you took basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Would you like to start and tell us your story from Fort Leonard
On
Wood?
Fort Linwood, first of all, I got a letter through the mail. Says, greetings, your friends and neighbors have selected you in the armed forces. Report.
They really do say that.
That's right.
And did you ever find out your
I
friends and
don't
neighbors
never
who?
have. So that's when my beginning of my basic training at Fort Linwood. Well, not much to tell you about basic training for Linwood. Like, I don't know, qualified with M14. I, I guess that's about it. And just do KP and take orders. That's mainly you had to learn how to take orders. That's not all I can say about basic training.
What was KP duty like?
Oh, it wasn't bad. It's all night long. Peel potatoes, wax the floor, wash dishes.
Did you do anything that just to get by in KP duty?
Well, just get out of it. There's a guy named was Horath. They used to call him ahead of me because I was Horath. I made KP one time. So, other than that, you had to take your exercise, PE, rope, blow crawls, and all that stuff, get you in shape for, I guess, your advanced training like the infantry in Fort Polk. But, am I getting ahead of myself?
No.
You want me to keep on going?
Keep going.
Well, after basic training, I got shipped no leave, right straight to Fort Polk for 9 weeks infantry training. There you qualify for the M60 grenade launcher, M16, about every weapon, M4 or 45 pistol. Qualified for with almost every weapon, how to dig mines up and stuff like that. Rifle squad tactics. That's about it. And then I got about a 12-day leave and right straight to Vietnam.
On your leave, did you get to come home?
Come home. Yeah.
So
13 days.
in Fort Polk, did they hand you a sheet of paper and say, your friends and neighbors have volunteered you for Vietnam?
No, I should not. Well, I can't answer in a polite way what they told us when we got off the bus. So I better not say that in front of cameras and everybody else. So they just got you out there and lined you up, and there's your bunk, and you better be it. Next morning we was out there just doing everything, running and everything. It was all right. I think it made a man out of me, put it that way.
When you were at Fort Polk and you had all that training, did you actually use the equipment and actually launch the grenades? And
Yes, ma'am.
and it was all the equipment that you actually were using.
Yes, ma'am.
It wasn't play toys.
No, ma'am. Well, they start you out like blanks, then you get training on live ammo then, like at the firing ranges and like your rifle squad tactics, they have you charging the hill. And of course, there'd be dummies up there, you firing live ammo at them and stuff.
You hear about the Marines and they tell you um, that when they issue you, the Marines say when they issue your gun,
Weapon.
your weapon, excuse me, when they issue your weapon, it becomes yours. Is
Yes.
that the same way with the Army?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you got to have, they give you your serial number on that weapon. You got to sleep with it and everything else.
You take it on dates and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Okay. What was the weather like in Fort Polk?
High humidity, hot. Well, when we went on bivouac, it was kind of mosquito eating and everything like that. It was kind of hot. Well, when I was there, I think, okay, I have to figure, I think it was be April. It's still hot and humid and stuff in Fort Polk, Louisiana, yeah. And rainy.
So was basic training 8 weeks?
8 weeks, 9 weeks infantry training for Fort Polk.
So 9 weeks. So, do you think that's enough training?
For basic, yes, but they might need more training in what field they go in. Well, infantry training, that's nothing but qualifying all the weapons and stuff. Where, yeah, that probably would be if you have the right drill instructor.
Do you think that when you then were shipped over, that as how old were you?
I was
18?
18.
Do you think you were prepared to go?
No, I wasn't, because I didn't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got in, I made the best of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So did you get any leave when you were over?
In Vietnam?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I got R&R, went to Malaysia. But that was about 7 months in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you have any entertainers come to you?
Yes, ma'am, I guess I was chosen out of the company. One person out of the company. I went to see Bob Hope and Ann Margaret.
You did?
Yeah, at Cameron Bay.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
I thought it was great.
Did you have Anne Margaret hanging in your
Oh,
barracks?
yeah. Well, we never had barracks.
And
In
tent or
yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
Or in your wallet?
No, but she was, well, I was 68 then, yeah.
Uh-huh. She was pretty good
young.
looking.
Yes, ma'am, she was.
Uh-huh. So, you were at one of the shows.
That was a day, and was there noon, and about that afternoon, we helicoptered us back to the boonies where I was.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And when you did R&R in Malaysia?
That was 5 days.
5 days. What did you do there?
Sightsee. The Army had you had your pick. Well, I don't know, give me a motel, and everybody had a room next to each other, different units and stuff. And you just go sightseeing, matter of fact, relax and take a good nap.
Probably a good shower.
Yeah, good shower.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you buy anything when you were there?
Oh, not really. Never had the money. I sent most of my paycheck back home.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a girlfriend back then?
Yes, I was engaged to be married, and I got drafted.
How was communication?
We wrote every day almost, back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Were you able to get
letters out? Yeah, mail. They brought a ship, shop. Well, helicopter brought it out, and our food, and sometimes dry clothes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
sometimes I might get 5 or 6 letters at one time where she wrote where they couldn't get to us and stuff. And she would do the same thing.
Uh-huh. So mail call was pretty important to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
It was. Did you guys get packages like cookies?
She's at Christmas time. We just come back. I call it the boonies or boonie. We used to back for Christmas for 3 days, and I had a big package from my wife now.
Did you guys all share that stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pass it out. Hey, look here, look here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was no phone calls home.
Oh
Or
no.
it was a different time.
Yeah. Well, if it had cell phone, you probably could, but I don't think it allowed it where we, you know. Yeah.
Could you tell them where you were?
Yes.
You could tell them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't send, like, I don't know, word things, like guy's finger or something,
Right. You couldn't actually.
Yeah.
You didn't want to
No.
explain things.
Yeah.
So you were there for how long in Vietnam?
A year.
A year.
I was over, I got to Vietnam June 14th, 68 to June 14th, 69.
Okay.
I never wrote that down, did I?
And then when you came back to the States, where did you go?
Fort Leonard Wood. I taught rifle squad tactics there to the combat engineers. That's hand arm signals if you're in a war, and well, about the same thing. I was trained in the infantry, the rifle squad tactics, how to charge a hill, and online and stuff like that.
How did you get into that field?
I was a sergeant E5, and they needed to somebody there trained things, so that's what I did, and that's when I got out. So
you got ranked pretty quick back then.
yes, I automatically it was E2 out of infantry training. When I went to Nam, I was automatic E3, PFC. Then about 2 or so months later, I was E4. Then I was made squad leader. I was E5.
That's pretty quick. That was pretty quick. So do you stay in touch with any of the guys?
Not lately. I haven't. I need to, but I wished I would. I lost some of their addresses, and I don't know how I'd get in touch with them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We used to when we first, well, say 2 or 3 years, but that kind of all faded away. No, I would like to.
Do you remember what units you were in or divisions?
I was with American Division, 198th Light Infantry Brigade in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then when you came back?
I was with the 5th Army. I couldn't remember at Fort Leonard Wood.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking 40-some years ago.
That's impressive, though. And what kind of medals were special? You must have been a sharpshooter.
I walk point for the company. I don't know if you know what walking point.
No, I don't.
I was squad leader, me and my squad go out in front of the whole company while we were out in the boonies looking for booby traps, trip wires, and sniper,
Mm-hmm.
And most generally I'd stop volunteer for that. And when I got back to when I come back from Vietnam, I got relieved. Oh, I don't know, me and my wife got married then when I got back, but I got a paper for a Bronze Star, and I was in, when you come back to Vietnam, you want it all over with, and I went to Portland, when 7 more months I'm out, and I never did turn it in, and I give it to my order. I got all the orders and everything. I never did. It ain't on my record, but I got all the orders for the Bronze Star and everything. And I turned it in to Jim Palmer. He was supposed to be in here today, and I got to go up to Effingham. Well, here at where is it? I can't think of that. Right by the courthouse.
Okay.
And turn it in and get my Bronze Star for me.
Well, that's good.
So I didn't know that. That's been in there. I forgot all about that after I got out, and I joined American Legion here. And oh yeah, I got Bronze Star Improvement, but I ain't got it. It's not. I got the orders and everything.
So you had a special duty of point,
Yeah, I'm squad leader
squad leader.
in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a little bit of everything in Vietnam, you know, like squad leader, point leader. I was just doing my duty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about all I can tell you. Now I was all over Vietnam. Well, not all over Vietnam. I was out almost Laos border, you know, on their patrols and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not too sure I wasn't in Laos a couple of times. There was no street sign telling me if I was or not.
They didn't have street signs
No.
right there. Mm-hmm.
But that's about all I can tell you about it.
Now, did you take a boat? Were you on a ship over there when you went over there?
No, when I got out of the infantry training, I flew to Fort Lewis, Washington, and from there flew to Vietnam, right to Cam Mon Bay, there where I was inducted, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How long were you in Fort Lewis?
Overnight. Or no,
Overnight.
Yeah, overnight. That morning we flew to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't get to see Seattle much.
No. Then when I came back, I flew into San Francisco. And I flew out of San Francisco, Chicago. That's where my wife lived. And they come pick me up. And
Did you, by any chance, were you able, when you came back from Vietnam and you flew into San Francisco, were you able to see your brother? Because your brother was stationed
I didn't know he was stationed there.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
So.
Yeah. Well, he was in San Diego, I think. I'm not sure. But that's when he was getting, maybe a year later, I went and picked him up, and him and his wife at the airport O'Hare. Yeah, I don't know if it's a little about 6 months later, maybe. Yeah.
Now, you have how many brothers and sisters? 7?
7, 8 brothers. Yeah. And 2 sisters.
And
it was 12 of us all together. I got 2 brothers and a sister dead.
And you and Emmett were both in the service. Were there any others?
Yeah, I got 2 older brothers was in the service, Conrad and Henry. They went in back in 63, 2, somewhere in there. I can't remember what exact date. They went in this buddy plan back in going, and they stayed in 4 years or 3, and they was in Germany and stuff.
So you were the only one that was in Vietnam at the time.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, did they only let one of the family member in Vietnam? Yeah. But then at a later point, they didn't do that. Is that correct?
I'm not too sure on that, but I know Emmett told me he wouldn't let him go into Vietnam because I was already there, and I really didn't know that, and if like 2 brothers, together, but he's in the Navy, but it's unlikely we've been together. We've been different places in Vietnam, but.
So you, I know, belong to the DAV.
Yes, ma'am.
And you belong to the AMVETS? American Legion.
American Legion. I belong to VFW too.
And the VFW. And are you active in all 3 memberships?
Well, at the VFW, I'm really active in the American Legion. I'm the Sergeant of Arms there. We just had 3 ceremonies in a row. And the VFW, my wife's grandpa signed me up. He was a diehard VFW person, and I pay my dues every year. And I go up here to Effingham every once in a while, but I don't go to the meetings, but I go in them. And I belong to VFW Vandalia for ever since I guess 43 years. I pay my dues and everything. I'm still talk to people, but I don't go to meetings there. But I'm pretty active at the American Legion. And up here, I help Larry out if he wants something.
Do you, did you have any kids or grandchildren that joined the service?
No, ma'am.
If someone came to you, the younger generation, and said, I'm thinking about joining the service, what would you say to them?
I said, I'll tell them, I hope you do. You make them a better person. That's what I tell them. I wouldn't discourage them. Anyhow, I said, pick a field, what you want to go in, and all the armed forces got something you can do. It'd be a good thing, especially for, you know, the kid or something's going down, you know, be a good place for them.
If you were younger and had an opportunity, would you go back into the service?
Well, if I was younger, yeah, but if I had the education, I'd go to the OC Officers Candidate School. I've always wanted, I thought that'd be the best. Or, you know, stuff like that, and you learn more. But then get a better education. You can get a good education in the armed forces. Yeah, I probably would. I would have re-enlisted, but they said 30 days back in Vietnam. I said, no, I'll see you guys later. So I don't think I could have went back there.
That was a hard tour for him.
Mm.
A lot of men.
Yeah.
Do you think our children today are taught enough about American history and our wars and conflicts?
In a way, I don't think they are. You know, I think they ought to. I don't know how to say it. No, I don't think they ought to taught enough for history and the armed forces, what they have to do, protect our country. No.
What about, you know, thinking back, I'm going to go back to your experience in the service. Do you have any good memories or any memories that you'd like to share? Thinking about, you know, our kids, these interviews, a lot of children will use these. And any type of memory that you'd like to share, whether it's a funny memory, or, you know, something about, you know, you talked about Fort Polk being hot. You know, something about maybe Fort Polk or, you know, Fort Leonard Wood, or your induction into the service.
Yeah, I was scared. You know, they shaved your hair when I went into the Army, and I thought that was the terriblest thing. I had, you know, back in the 60s, you kind of looked like a hippie. Well, I was pretty well. And really, and really the best thing I can see when my last 7 months, of course, if this Cornwall field of armed forces you are in, you can see a lot of country. And me and my wife done that when we was in Fort Linwood even. But we went just sightseeing. I've only worked like 4 days a week because you only train so many GIs during the day. We just jump in a car and we seen all of Missouri, just sightseeing. It was a lot of fun, and that's about it. For funness. I met a lot of new friends, real lot of new friends. there.
When you said you got married when you came back, did you live on post, you and your wife?
No, we got a place, a little trailer off post, about a quarter mile off Fort Leonard Wood. And I had privilege just go off and on post. Well, I had to have a sign in the window. Yeah, we had a good time.
What were some of the benefits that you had as military personnel?
Well, you had the EM club, the PX. You can go in and get stuff a lot cheaper than can. The EM club, you can go in and have a beer or two, and stuff like that. And on post, they have to be on post. And then, of course, in armed forces, you had got good insurance and stuff like that. I mean, you got all kinds of benefits.
How did the town treat you?
Oh, great. Well, it was just like in a trailer court where we lived, but there was Leesville right down the road. And we always went back to Rolla or something like that, shopping and stuff. They treated us great.
Do you remember the day that you were discharged?
Yes, ma'am. I had to hit all these places to make all the captains had to stop and salute and sign, make sure, like I had to go to the motor pool. I mean, just right on down the line. You had to go through chain command, do all this stuff, and make the uniform, the clothing. You turn your clothes back in and stuff. Issues. You had to have them sign. I went all over Fort Leonard Wood, getting all that signed before I didn't even get out of there.
And were there more than you getting out that day?
I don't think so. I must have went the wrong time today, or it was that morning when I went out because I wanted to go home.
So you could go anytime that day?
Yeah.
And
As long
then
as I got a sign, initial from the captains and the colonels and all that other stuff.
did they, since you were married and you probably had belongings, you and your wife,
Yeah.
did they send those belongings home or move those belongings home for you?
No, we pretty well just had a trunk full when we left. We left most of it there. Took it to the garbage can because we never took that much. We only had 7 months. You only had your clothes. You wore. Well, I had army issue. Well, she had to pack her own. Of course, I had civilian clothes there too. But yeah, it was experience. 2 newlyweds out there, $300 and some dollars a month on sergeant pay. It's hard to make pay rent and stuff.
So the pay wasn't real good back then.
No.
The cost of living wasn't very.
No, wasn't. Well, yeah. I think when we left Fort Leonard Wood just before, 2 days before Christmas, she wanted to go see her folks. We had $7 worth of pennies, and I had a '63 Chevrolet, and we drove on $7 worth of gas all the way from Fort Leonard Wood to Joliet, Illinois.
You couldn't do that now.
No. Never, I was pennies. She was counting pennies out. Well, that's okay. Didn't get paid the 30th of the month, and that's.
When you came back from Vietnam, did you come back on a military flight?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone ever, when you came back, you probably didn't have a good reception, did you?
No, I wasn't nobody there waving hands or nothing. No, just walked in the airport and got a ticket home, and then nobody say how you doing or anything. No,
Or
never.
thank you for
Or
serving our
yeah,
country?
no, I never had that. No. Only time I got that, when they picked me up, they took me out for dinner, that people was waiting on you for lunch, you know, and but I mean in airports, no.
I would like to take and tell you that I appreciate you serving our country. I would like to thank you for serving our country, and I
Okay.
appreciate that. And
Thank
I
you,
would
ma'am.
also like to say that I appreciate you giving so much in Vietnam.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank you for giving me the honor to interview you today.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
That's about it.